Awesome. We have a good crowd today. So my agenda is listed over here. And this agenda was sent to you guys beforehand. So I'm not going to read out and again bore you guys. I'm just going to get on with whatever activities I have planned. My number one point on my agenda is student engagement in offline and online setting. This is the biggest question we are asked all the time, me, from my students, and from other faculty colleagues as well. And this is something I have curated for you and used myself in my classroom and suggested other faculties as well. This is very very common. आप लोगों ने ये वाले features जो हैं Zoom के इस्तेमाल किए होंगे, whether it's a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a clap, a raise hand, yes, no, or any other feature. So just before I started this presentation, I asked you guys whether you were ready. That was a call to action, and I was using an inbuilt feature of Zoom for you guys. So that's number one. Number second is breakout rooms. You guys might have recently gone through breakout rooms in our previous module. Agar nahi, then you will also get a chance today. Breakout rooms are exactly like when you group your students in a classroom, and the best feature about breakout rooms is that you can divide them automatically or manually, and then you can visit each room and help and scaffold your students throughout that learning process of yours. Please abhi, do not worry about the cognitive overload of information. Everything will make sense once we go through all of it, and you will also receive this PowerPoint to make sense of it. The next thing, which is again an inbuilt feature of Zoom, MS Teams, Google Meet, ये सारे platforms introduce करा दिया है, is the whiteboard usage. I use whiteboard all the time. I feel that it's a breeze to teach if I'm teaching some complex topic. And if you guys pay some attention to these two arrows over here, जहाँ पे disable attendee annotation or show names लिखा हुआ है. Again, this has been a breeze. It really helps me to manage the classroom and then also engage them throughout. This is a feature of a mobile Zoom app. And the reason why I'm doing Zoom all over again, even though some of you gave us feedback, is Zoom please mat karwaiega, hum thak gaye hain Zoom pad ke aur seek ke. It's just that we have an activity coming up. So if you see on your mobile screen a small pencil, that means that you will be able to write on my slides or the presenter slides, whoever is presenting. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you understand this bit? Okay, great, great, great. So the next one, which is again something which I have tried and tested in my own classroom, is called Answer Garden. Sometimes what happens is that not all the teachers or not all the students are comfortable using these high-tech um, apps or software. So Answer Garden is your answer, no matter how cheesy this sounds. Answer Garden में होता क्या है कि you send out this brainstorming questions to your students and then they can contribute, and it uses low bandwidth, and it also gives your students a lot of time to think and give you prepared answers instead of blurting out. And then of course there is a brainstorming feature as well. The next one under the student engagement in online and offline, Hypothesis or hypothesis.is is this amazing feature I recently discovered and attended a whole webinar and did some activities with my students as well. Is something which will help your students, either they are online or they are offline or in remote setting, to read the reading materials with you and then critically think about that material. This is an example of one of the articles me and my other group discussed and launched a discussion forum on. This was written by one of the best educator out there in Egypt, Mahabali, and we discussed all this article. आप इसको highlight करके, इसकी extension download करके, you can have a very good discussion forum over it. Instead of hosting this whole discussion on a separate platform, you can have it in your browsers. इसकी एक extension मिलती है if you see that red square. And as you can see, within 1 hour, we had 184 discussions popping up, and it was very easy to mark them and everything. The next part in my engagement is TED Ed. I feel like that YouTube videos or videos from any other video platform are becoming mundane, and students are not really getting engaged, whether it's online or offline. This feature is used offline more or in remote settings. TED Ed is basically the answer which I have been using for, I don't know, I think 4 or 5 years. TED Ed may you can create lessons, and they have added features as well. The unique part of TED Ed lessons is that you can add small pop-ups and add a small diagnostic quiz or assessment or even a final exam in between videos to keep your learner alert at all times. And it produces really good results. It tracks the students' progress as well, and it's very, very easy to set up. So I'm going to jump to call to action, again to your advantage for your students. This activity is called Circle of Questions and does not require any third-party software or app. It basically requires you, your students, and an audio conferencing platform or a video conferencing platform. So Circle of Questions में इस तरह होता है कि you can ask the guiding question from your students, and then you can tag a student from your participant list and they would have to answer that question, and then that student would ask another question which will keep the discussion ongoing, and then they will go on from there. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you, and again I would really like that you guys also participate with me. My question to you is, why is oxygen important in the process of photosynthesis? And I am going to tag Dr. Rehan Siddiqui for the question. Dr. Rehan?
Oxygen is important for photosynthesis because it is required for the process of respiration, aerobic respiration.
Okay, Zabardast. Sir, can you ask another question related to that and tag someone else from the list?
Why it is not good to sleep at night under the trees?
And can you tag someone?
Who is there? Roxana Zia can tell. Yes.
Because you don't want to die of a carbon dioxide overload, right?
Oh, you are right. Good, very good.
Can we have an applause for Ms. Roxana and Dr. Rehan, please?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
So if you keep on going with this chain, the circle of questions, it becomes really, really interesting, and it's a perfect activity, a call to action for your students if they are 30s or 45. And it's really, really good to see कि कौन सा बच्चा किसको tag करता है. So it clearly shows that what's going on in your classroom. The next activity is the last one in this segment, and this is something again I have been using and it's so good. अगर आपको picture से अंदाजा नहीं हो रहा, so this is called True Truths and One Lie. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you have heard about this little game?
No, haven't heard about it.
Okay, no problem. So the game basically goes like this, that you give your students two truths related to any topic, and then there is one false statement, or you can also switch this up. There can be two false statements, two lies, and then one truth, and then you ask them to guess and then make their groups and discuss on different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate it quickly for you. Can the Department of English please open up your mics?
It's the same here, English department.
Hello, sir. Okay.
Hello.
So, sir, would you like to be a volunteer with me for this activity?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Zabardast. Sir, I'm going to open up my screen. इस screen के ऊपर there are two lies. Wait.
Yeah.
So there are two truths and one lie. Can you please identify which one is a lie?
I think the first one, just let me read first.
Sure, sir.
Video.
And if somebody else wants to contribute, हमारी chat open है. Please let us know.
The first one is a lie.
Yeah, the first one is a lie.
Sir, can you please tell me why?
Because I mean, my information says Jabberwocky, I haven't ever heard. Kitchen English can be something, slang is something, but what is Jabberwocky? The language which was purposefully invented to communicate between the Maasai tribe.
Actually, it's Lewis Carroll's novel, and he has this Jabberwocky in it. And I think one of Lewis Carroll's novels. And he's invented this gibberish. So it's not for Maasai tribe, it's just gibberish.
Excellent, excellent. So thank you so much, Dr. Waseem and Musarat ma'am. Jabberwocky, जो है जैसे उन्होंने बताया, is an actual gibberish language, but it's not related to Maasai tribe. But kitchen English and slang वाला जो part है, that's absolutely true. It has been used, and it's a very valid point or points for English linguistics, basically. So if you see in this activity, there was some discussion. Musarat ma'am jumped towards an answer, so it shows her excitement or maybe motivation or some engagement level as well. So this is something how you frame the language, the way you frame the language of your activity also matters a lot. So I'm going to stop right here, and I would like to ask Aisha Fareed, would you like to jump in?
Sure, Maida. My issue is sorted now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Stop my share.
Okay, thank you so much for that. All right, people. So you've had half of the share of the fun ride with Maida. Half is left. So this is something that we wanted. Half of that is done. Half of that is left. So it is somewhat backward now. Backward model and forward model. It's inverted now. The model is inverted. We wanted to lay the framework first. So the framework was self-efficacy model. I am Aisha Fareed. I'm from writing. I'm part of Writing Center now. I teach research skills to students. And I volunteered to take part with Maida, as I took a keen interest lately in self-efficacy because I was teaching lately in spring semester, and I thought that this is something that our faculty and we could look into. And I was working, as Ms. Musarat knows. Hi, Ms. Musarat, if you're there. I just heard your name, and I
yes, I am.
At you. Hi, Ms. Musarat. Hi. So, okay, so let's get to it, as you people have already waited hard. And it's really good, and it's really very overwhelming to see a very large group of audience who's not there just for class participation and for attendance. Okay, I hope. Okay, so let's get to it. Today, I am going to first lay the groundwork through Bandura's model, which I'm sure that some of you are already acquainted with. That is a self-efficacy model of Bandura. Let's first look at that. Now, self-efficacy model of Bandura, which most of you have already first, the root of that is motivation, which our module is revolving around. That is, I would like to start with a video. That is an award-winning video.
Aisha, we are not getting sound with your video.
Gigi, I'm getting to it. I've titled this video Beginning and End. Why I've titled this video Beginning and End as whatever that we as teachers, we target towards, as this little bird was targeting towards, this is what we target for our students. So this little fruit, this little seed, the food, the motivation that the bird was trying to go towards, this, the enthusiasm, the engagement, the motivation, this is what we look for our students to go towards. And what we can as teachers give and how we can establish that. This is what motivated me to look into, and this is what I am looking into these days. So I am after Prezi these days. I don't know whether my fellow colleagues have really been bombarded with lots and lots of Prezi presentations, and I have been really bugging them. I am experimenting a lot with that. So in half an hour, you are going to look into, and you are going to, I'm going to share just through one medium, I'm going to share lots and lots of different ways of how you can, A, Maida is going to do that, B, I'm going to do that. So how we can engage, this is all experimentation that all of us do. So through our own way of how we are going to interact, maybe this is going to work, maybe this is not going to work, and also through the framework of Bandura, I'm going to also talk to you people, and also some research key points and guidelines also I will share with you. So all of that we are going to contribute, make a contribution, and as Dr. Rukhsana has made the contribution as well. So all of this is linked. Dr. Rukhsana has already made laid the groundwork. In module 2, whatever I'm going to talk about, it links to module 2, and it is also going to link to module 6 also. So let's now, how self-efficacy is linked to motivation. Self-efficacy, if literally we talk about self-efficacy, literally it means self-worth. Self-worth of a person. Self-worth is linked to motivation. How a person, what a person think about himself and herself is linked to motivation, and then the motivation is linked to task involvement. Now, all of that is linked to how much a person is going to be persistent, how much a person is going to be involved in a task, how much a person is going to be productive in a task, how much a person is going to be engaged in a task. And then all of that is directly related to one another. What is self-efficacy? Bandura is called a father of self-efficacy in a way, because he was the person that who really did a lot of groundwork in self-efficacy, and then he formed a model which is followed till date. There are two definitions that I am going to highlight here today. To determine self-efficacy in behavioral way, and then self-efficacy in then application. Self-efficacy to determine how people feel, think, motivate themselves and behave. So behavioral changes, that how a person goes through behavioral changes. And then to refer to beliefs in one's capability to organize and execute courses of action, not just one course of action, so different courses of action. So there could be multiple different courses of action, not just one course of action, to produce given attainments. Again, not just one attainment. So there could be different directions. What does it mean? Let's look at that in other different slides. Self-efficacy models had 4 elements. First one is performance accomplishments, vicarious learning, and then verbal encouragement, and then the last one is emotional states. Let's look at each one separately. The first one, which is performance accomplishments, which is also called in active mastery experience. In active mastery experience, successful experiences. Successful experiences also are going to be experiences, those experiences which are going to be going to have positive effect on self-efficacy, are going to have positive self-beliefs, are going to form positive self-beliefs. So they're going to have strong association with they're going to have positive effect on your self-efficacy. So it depends on the kind of experiences a person already has. So if you're not going to have positive experiences, obviously it's going to affect the task that you're going to perform. The second one are vicarious learning. Vicarious learning is scaffolding. So scaffolding is going to be dependent on the modeling that you're going to. Modeling these days does not depend on persons anymore. They could be peer-to-peers. They could be done through softwares these days. They could be done through e-tutors these days. They could be done through different web platforms these days as well. So, and then again, scaffolding does not mean to, it does not mean to actually achieve the, it means that proximal goal, to achieve the proximal goal, not the exact goal, but proximal goal. So again, and also in this short period of time. So you have to set the tasks accordingly, and you have to set the tasks which are achievable, which are not difficult to achieve. So I'm boring you with a lot of theory, but I promise you there's a twist in all of that. Just bear with me for 2-3 minutes, because it's important to know that what we are doing and how exactly all of that groundwork which is going to form the all of that is going to turn into the application. So unless and until we know the groundwork, which I'm sure that most of us, especially coming from linguistics, especially coming from education, especially coming from humanities, they already know it, but maybe as a fresh up, and maybe people from sciences. So it is something that we all as a community can maybe have a refresher. Verbal persuasion. Verbal persuasion is very important. Now, this comes with a little kind of a a little caution. So verbal persuasion it's very important here for a credibility, persuader's credibility. So a persuader's credibility here, it's very important. And the kind of feedback that is given. So if you give them a feedback that is not reliable and that has no standing, then obviously rather than having a good effect and rather than having a positive effect and rather than having an engaging effect and rather than having a constructive effect, it can have a negative impact. So there's a strong correlation nonetheless, but you have to be very careful in giving feedback. And how can the feedback be provided? That is something that I am going to be giving you guidelines on, again with research. Emotional states, physiological and emotional states. This is something that I, as an instructor, and I'm sure that you people also have experienced that with your students, and maybe as instructors as well, that students face lots and lots of issues in terms of physiological and affective states. There's stress and anxiety, fear of loss of control and all of that. So how can we manage that? That the relationship between learner and task or learner and instructor, so that is very important. Success is expected when one is not in an aversive state, and Bandura called it a state of arousal. And the modest level is expected for a more engaging state and a more in a more self-efficacy state. So that is more important. And now let's look at that, how exactly that the research, what research says about online guidelines and how we can look at some applications and some of the online applications of all of what I have discussed in terms of the framework. So when I say that I have gone through this issue, in my last semester, I did have this issue. In the very last, when students started facing, when they had to submit the assignments in the very last, that how to sustain, they take the course, but how to sustain the course that they have taken, and in the course, how to manage their assignments and how to submit their assignments and how to stay motivated. So this is why I started working on self-efficacy, that how to stay engaged in, because this is all student-centered, how to stay engaged, because it's independent. So this is something that we as faculty, we need to think about that throughout 3 months and 4 months, that how we can keep the students engaged and how to keep them motivated throughout. So these are some guidelines, not by me, because I'm no expert. I have quoted few of the researchers. The links of the researchers are provided in the reference list. So I have created a video, and then you can look up those the articles that I have quoted here, and then the guidelines have been provided here. So you can watch this video, and then if you have some questions, I can take them, or please raise your hand if you have a question in the audience, and you can write them in the chat box if you like, and then I can give my ending note, and then we can have an activity. It's a 1-minute activity. We can have that after a video. Joe, 2002, Marks, 2005, Morrison and Sanders, 2001, Thornott 2002 found a strong correlation between self-efficacy and online learning. According to ICE, over 1/3 of students cited that if they received an audio feedback from their instructors, they were more likely to take an online course in future, if they were taking an online course already. So it means that feedback, and that feedback also a prompt feedback while taking an online course, it has an impact in their future courses. So that also could be kept in mind while giving a feedback to your students. Lance and Anderson, 2017, in his paper, cited lots and lots of examples while giving feedback to his students, and he gave a feedback in form of emojis. And he believed that giving humorous emojis as linguistic repertoires, he called them linguistic, in his domain of linguistic repertoires, for quick feedback, that could help students to be engaged more. So maybe this technique could be used for quick feedback. So some kind of strategy could be developed like that, and keys could be developed to give feedback to students, and then that key could be given to students so that they are kept in loop that what is meant by the feedback given to students. Now, Bates, 2004, did a lot of work in talking about students in connection to fear and anxiety in terms of technology. Bates, 2004, talked about that students who fear computer technologies may experience confusion, anxiety, loss of personal control, frustration, and withdrawal. If you have taken lately, maybe in your spring semester, you have experienced it, or lately if you have taken any online course, you have been teaching it, remote teaching, if you've been involved in that, or if you have been involved in any kind of teaching through online means, you must have experienced that this is something that students might face, or maybe teachers have been facing that as well. So as a solution to that, Bates again indicated that training could be provided by instructors to students, and previous experience with online can also reduce anxiety. And in my previous notes, I have also indicated that e-tutors and software agents can also be introduced, and students can also rely on them and for training purposes. Schmidt, 1998, he talked about that how, if you are comfortable, how comfortable you are with the computer technologies, how that plays a role. So he found out that as participants expressed stronger computer confidence, they also demonstrated more positive attitude toward computer, and they reported more knowledge about computers. So this is all connected. The more they are comfortable with computer technologies, the more confident they are about their computer skills, the more knowledge they have about their computer skills. Osborne, he stated in 2001, so I'm going to connect to that, and then I am going to talk about my EndNote. Osborne in 2001, his studies showed that students who have strong confidence in computer skills and less computer anxiety were more likely to persist in an online course. So it's all interconnected. The more they are confident about their computer technologies, the more they are knowledgeable about their computer skills and computer technologies, the more they are going to be persistent in their online courses, and the more they are going to be continue with their online course, and the more they are going to be knowledgeable about it, and the more they are going to be skilled about it, and the more they are going to be connected in the course and engaged and motivated in the course. So Moodle is one platform which is an open-ended feedback forum, where it is a closed-ended feedback forum, where you are going to give students an option which is a closed, not you're going to restrict the students in a way that you are the instructor, and then their peers that they know, they are going to provide the feedback to the peers that they know. They are going to be interacting with them. Whereas the other, if you're going to expose them to Web 2.0 web, then that's an open feedback forum. So it depends on you that which platform you choose for them to either that's an open-ended platform which is open for them to receive feedback or give feedback. Either you have wikis for them to have research, or you have posted for them. It is something that you have closed assignments on Moodle, or you have closed assignments, open assignments on Wiki or on other platforms that would whatever platforms that you have used. So it is going. Okay, so as a end note, I would like to say that yes, it offers lots and lots of interactivity, but it comes with a caveat, and the caveat is that it has connectivity issues, and it does have an issue with obviously computer skills is one of the problems, and then computer competency is one of the issues. So these issues are something that our faculty and students need to be prepared about. For that, we have in the chat box a 1-minute activity. There's an activity 1 and activity 2 that is going to take less than a minute. That is for a faculty right now. Based on that, what we have covered, activity 1 is posted right now in the chat box. So based on what we have covered, it just for what we, the Bandura's model that we have covered. So the 4 of the basic elements, that is the prior skills, and the second one, that's scaffolding. The third one that we have covered, that's the affective, the emotional state, and the last one, the one that we have covered. So all of the 4, the factors that we have covered that affect the self-efficacy of a person. And so all of those, how they affect the theory of that, so how that builds on. So these 2 checklists, if you could just take out 1 minute and then fill that, so it's going to be a reflection. It just takes 1 minute. So activity 1 and activity 2, both of them are posted.
Thank you so much, Aisha. You tried to connect to your own learning, how Bandura's model came in very effective as a self-efficacy model. And I think it's a very good example of how motivation and engagement works. And undoubtedly, your feelings of competence will drive your work. And the same goes if on the flip side for the student. So the message here is that the student has to be motivated enough and to be confident enough to take up the task as you do as a teacher in an online environment. I think these two activities can be done as a reflection on this presentation alone, and they will not generally apply in all environments. So may I request that you do them, take 2 seconds to do them. And if you have any feedback, please do give it. I do feel that the connection between the Bandura self-efficacy model and how it motivates is now clearer to you. Motivation, it clearly says, comes from the level of comfort and the level of confidence you have with your skills and with your competency. And the same goes for the students. So thank you so much, Aisha. You made a very remarkable point. And we'll go back to Maida. Maida, you have a tough task, and you have for now only given us a list of activities that happen on an online format, right? And but there's a lot of other activities that can happen. There are like online discussions. You talked about online discussion, blogs and boards. You talked about question and answer and how circle question and other activities in which you could involve students. What else would you like us to know about learning activities in an online environment? Thank you.
Okay, so Aisha, can you please unshare your screen? Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's pick up from where we left off. As ma'am mentioned over here that I would be now moving on to my next section. If you remember that I showed you guys a list of agendas, this is my second agenda, and now we are going to move on to practicality, and you will be able to more connect. You will be able to connect my activities or the engagement part of it with the motivation part, which Aisha has talked about. So my second section for you guys is about using multiple modes for communication to include all students. This is what we have been talking about, or kind of dealing with, that how to include all students, whether they are from a different background, a different cultures, different socioeconomic background. And it's very, very important that we do that. Nobody is 100% perfect, but still I think we try to do our best as humans. I'm going to show you the next slide, and this is going to, kind of, how do I say this? You will feel some feelings about it, and I would like to know what you feel about it. So I have this slide, and it has WhatsApp ka icon in black. It's usually in green, dark green to be exact. Would someone like to tell me why I have painted it black?
Can I answer that?
Yes, Umar sir.
Because we have a white background and it kind of easy to see. Just a guess.
Oh, nice try. So would somebody else like to try? Why is my WhatsApp?
I think it is a mixture of Blogger and Slack. So BL and ACK. So it's so you've combined that to make black.
Wow, Ma'am Sara, this is so creative. I wish I had that creativity in me. This is so creative. So I'm going to give you guys an answer. Probably I wasn't really clear when I was designing this. WhatsApp has been this necessary evil in our lives when we are teaching, when we went into crisis mode of teaching. And there is this a huge mountain of expectation from us that students are going to send us a message, and then we are going to respond to them immediately. There is no privacy option over there. There are numbers being exchanged, and there can be a lot of managerial issues and stress related issues on WhatsApp as well. And that's why I have, मैंने इस पे कलंक लगा दिया हुआ है. Of course, you can use WhatsApp whatsoever. It doesn't really matter what platform you're using. But what my recommendation would be that to either use Slack or Blogger. The reason why I'm talking about Slack and Blogger both is that they use your low bandwidth. आपका इतना internet नहीं लगता. You can use it on 2G or 3G as well, and same goes for Blogger. And you can actually sign up with just emails and not phone numbers, and you can have this set expectations of reaching out to everyone no matter where they are, and it's very easy to kind of maintain your communication with the students with both these platforms. Again, reaching out to your students is very, very important if you want to communicate with everyone. यहाँ पे आपको एक office hours की picture नजर आ रही है. I would really recommend you guys, if you want that engagement and motivation, that ongoing engagement and motivation in your class, have virtual office hours set. अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है that you have all the class joining in for the same time. You can just decide windows for them if somebody wants to set an appointment beforehand, or it can be just a room, an electronic room, a virtual room where students are showing up and then asking you queries about different assignments, or they're talking to you about the difficulties. The number one challenge with virtual office hours is that you need to set expectations for your students, that either they come on a certain day or time. जैसे हमारे physical office के भी virtual office hours होते हैं. So that's the one thing you need to take care of. The next part in including all students is reach out through different platforms, again depending on what works for you and what doesn't work. Select a range of applications which actually can benefit you to just go out and spread that information. Ruxana ji prepared an excellent document on this part on reaching out. So if your student requires documents, I know that it will be a little bit of pain for you, but if your student requires information on Slack or Blogger, or अगर आप WhatsApp भी करें, please send them out, because electronic copies can be received on all the platform. If you read this Jamboard over here, or you see this kind of a tablet and a stylus, I have been using whiteboards for my teaching, and they have been an excellent way of reaching out to everyone, where no matter which background they are from. FC में ज़्यादातर बच्चे जो electives पढ़ते हैं, they are from different backgrounds, so it's harder to reach out to them in terms of concept and critical thinking, and they are very good platforms to do that. You can explore them on your own. The next section for you is using videos, humor, personalized messages, and making instructors' presence felt. I cannot stress enough on this. I've been talking to a lot of faculty members here in Pakistan and abroad. Humanize your instructions to your advantage and to your students' advantage. We are not robots. We are not machines. We are just working through machines. And this is what we need to show our students as well, that even though we are on a virtual platform, we can still understand them, we can still have empathy or sympathy for them, and then we can also guide them and facilitate them. And one of the ways is obviously using videos in which they can see a moving picture and different context and different environments. For the next one, I would like you to read it. I'll give you 1 minute and then I'll check with you. Please read this slide. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you have read it? Okay, that's great. That's great. So this is a small clip from Calvin and Hobbes. It's a comic strip I absolutely love. This kid is absolutely amazing and so relatable in our classrooms as well. And this kind of reminds us as faculty members that it's just good to use humor in your classrooms every now and then, even if they're virtual. वो humanizing वाली बात है. Use a kind of a lighter note to start from, and then you can get on to something serious, what you're the content you're talking about, and then keep them along or engaged throughout with humor, so they understand that okay, this is a classroom, but we can also be ourselves in this classroom. I would like to answer this question since we are talking about instruction and humanizing. Nausheen Sabahat has written in the group chat that students usually do not bother about the office hours. They want us to reply to them all the time, no matter what and how. And if we don't, then they complain that the teacher is not responding, not cooperating. I absolutely agree to you. There are two things which are very, very important when we're talking about virtual office hours, that make sure that you have set your expectations, that students. Yeah, Sylvia ma'am, you're absolutely right. So make sure that you are just setting out the tone for your course, and then students are just following it not as a rule, but as something which they need to function in your classroom. And then probably we can talk more about it moving forward. There is another slide. Please take out some time to read, and then I'll get back to you. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you have read it? Okay. Great, great. I'm going to switch my slide again, and you can just skim through this slide. 1 minute for it as well. Okay. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you have read this as well, so I can move forward? Great. Great, great, great. Okay, so both these messages, जो हम लोगों का इस section का objective है, it's that you need to make your presence felt in the room or in the classroom, the virtual classroom. And both these messages exhibit that I am also human, I also need time. So I am the instructor, and I'm putting my foot down and either helping you out or taking a break from whatever is happening. I was absolutely exhausted when the last Eid period came, and I just was very honest with my students that I cannot do this for the next week. I really need to take some time off. And Nausheen ma'am, it might have been true that some of the students might have thought that it was rude, but we just need to put our step down and then talk to our students openly. And I received really supportive messages that yes ma'am, we also need a break. And this was really kind of that turning point for my course as well, where students started confiding in me more. So this is this part. The next one is using social media effectively. Social media cannot be ignored in these times. आपके अगर students are using social media every single time, they are called digital natives for a reason, then you cannot ignore the usage of social media in your own classroom. So you need to make some effort to design activities or assessments so that they are also motivated. The two social media handles which I use for activities and assessment and which are appropriate as well are Facebook and Twitter. I would incline more towards Twitter. Instagram मैं बिल्कुल use नहीं करूँगी because it's very, very personal. And when I use these two handles, students again have a very set expectations. We follow our rules throughout, and then they know how they will get a grade and how they will be penalized or not penalized depending on what your structure is. So the next slide is from 30th April. I hosted a Twitter scavenger hunt on the topic of culture of Pakistan. I was teaching at FCC how to teach social studies. And can someone from the audience tell me what is a scavenger hunt? My lovely audience. Hi, Zishan Saab.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So scavenger hunt is basically a game in which the game organizers actually plan and hide a couple of things somewhere, and they actually kind of give tips to people, to the people who are playing that game, to go and search for it, right? And that way, people go following the tips which are given and see if they can find that particular item or items which have been displayed there.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is exactly what scavenger hunt is. The way I launched it on Twitter was in this way. So what I did, I posted a couple of questions which helped them to find out information and which helped them to find out different reasons. And I'll show you a couple of examples as well. जैसे आपकी screen पे ये clue की example आ रही है, that I had this picture of this beautiful, beautiful royal fort in the north, and I asked them that can you name the fort with an interesting fact about it. And believe me, they were so quick to jump onto Twitter because again, they are digital natives and it really helps them if you're planning their activity within their zone, within their comfort zone. Another example from this very same Twitter scavenger hunt was this one, and is wale clue mein they had a total blast. They were kind of experimenting with the pictures. They were taking off cultural value items, and then there was a guessing game going on. So we had a pretty good pedagogical and engaging activity on Twitter. And hum logon ne ye activity we did it for 2 hours, and it was just a non-stop constant engagement, and I received such good feedback. And again, this has been tried and tested not only by me but other faculty members as well in FC and abroad as well. So it's a kind of validated and reliable method to use with social media. Another important thing I did with social media was this. Do we have any people from maths, any faculty members from mathematics? Can you please open up your mic? Okay, no. Would someone like to contribute or volunteer, whether you're from mathematics or with some other department? Can you open up your mic?
Okay, I'm from physics.
Yeah.
So Umar Saab is there, right?
Ji.
Okay, Umar Saab, can you kind of decode what's going on in this picture?
They're trying to distribute that sandal ka sharbat into the cups, into the mugs.
Okay, that's good. Can you elaborate a bit more?
Like you have to put different quantities, like teaspoons. There are different teaspoons. That quantity of the sharbat has to go into the mugs.
Excellent. I'm going to give you a round of applause from my side. Very good. It was very, very easy. This activity was done in mathematics, again in my classroom. And what we did online was I asked them to prepare to have this concrete concept of ratios and proportions. And I asked them to use any sharbat ka brand there is, whether it's Ruh Afza, Sandal, or any other Tang vagera. And then they had to give me the best ratios there was of any mix. And as you can see, I think that mix D is a winner over here as written by my student. So my student exhibited it and then showed it to me on social media, and I marked her there on social media. So there's a clarity of communication and engagement on both sides. The last section I have for you before we dive into our activity is designing learning activities, keeping in the motivation and engagement part, discussion, assignments, research, projects, and group work. One of the things which have been identified in online learning, whether it's on crisis mode or it's on remote, your normal online learning, is that it's very, very important that you as a faculty member integrate the environment around your students and yourself in your instruction. It really helps them to connect, and it really helps them to perform the activities, and it kind of gives them an intrinsic motivation which comes from the inside, instead of that extrinsic motivation ki hame grade chahiye, or we want numbers, or we want marks from this activity. I mean, it's not bad, but still it would be nice to pair this up. So this activity, this is Flipgrid. Flipgrid is really, really easy to use for videos. And what I asked them to do, I asked them to prepare a small science experiment. I also taught science in the previous semester, and then showcase it to one of the members of their family, or maybe more than one of the members of their family. This is the example of how the video was received from my end. And you can also see on the right side, that was my grading rubric for the experiment. This student performed an experiment with baking soda and lemon. And my faculty members from life sciences, what happens when you mix baking soda with lemon? Can you please explain?
Can I answer?
Yes, sir, please.
I'm not from chemistry, but I believe it will produce a gas.
Yes, round of applause for you. Very, very easy. So she performed this experiment. Thank you so much, Mustafa sir. And this was such a delight to watch, because the family members were involved. The home kitchen ke khane se unhone sari cheezein uthai thi. So it was very, very good to see what they have been doing. Another activity which I designed, and I would like to pose a question before I change my slide, and anybody can answer. I'll be more than happy to have your voice in this webinar. Can you please tell me how you can grow plants without soil at home?
With water, and that's a system of having water pipes go. There's a name for it. I've forgotten. I had that project done by my grade 6 students, so I know. So it's
okay. That's good. Can we have another answer? How can you grow plants, seeds, sprout them without soil?
It's the same thing that ma'am has just said, that you can have a watery solution which has some mineral nutrients in it as well. It's known as a hydroponic procedure. That's the name that they give it.
That's good. Can we have one more answer before I move on? There is another answer to it.
Yes, we can grow the seeds by putting them on moist filter paper.
Zabardast Aftab Saab, Umar, or Musarrat ma'am, again, I'm giving a lot of applauses today. So what I did with my students, I asked them, or I challenged them in, again, my science course, that use whatever you have in your house and then sprout a seed and then plant it as well. So as you see on the screen, some of the students used just normal tissue paper. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't costly, it was already present in their house, and you can see that the small seed is already sprouting. This is the younger version of the same plant. So उन्होंने cotton भी इस्तेमाल की हुई है और paper भी इस्तेमाल किया हुआ है. It was very, very good to see their creativity and involving their household environment into it. So I am going to now jump to our activity, and before I do that, does anybody have any confusions, or can I move on and then we can have a questioning answering session at the very end?
Maida, I would be very interested if you could open up some sites for us to see, like Slack. I have never seen what Slack looks like and how it works. And there is, I think, some others that are very commonly expected to be used by us. But, you know, how do you start a blog? I would love to see how do you start a blog. So some of those things, if you could sort of walk us through where to go to start a blog or to start, I know in a Facebook you could start, in a Twitter you could start a chat and stuff, but if you want to have a separate blog piece, you know, how do you do that? A discussion board or something like that. So if you could just please walk us through some new activities.
Okay, I can do that, but let's just do the activity so I can set up those sites on the background, in the background, so we don't waste anyone's time. So Salman Saab, I am going to start with the explanation, and then I'll give you a cue when to start the breakout rooms. Our breakout room is basically on a very famous game we have been playing at home. This is called Snakes and Ladders, and this is Saap Seedi in Urdu. I don't know if it has another name in any other language. So what I have done is
they call it Ludo as well. Is it Ludo?
Sir, this is Snakes and Ladders.
They call it Ludo as well. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
So what I have done is I prepared this game board, and this game board can be used for any subject you are teaching. It doesn't really matter if you are from humanities, social sciences, or even business. You can just add whatever you want in it. What I would like you guys to do, and I'd like to switch the screen so you can see your instructions. This link will be shared with you. Padlet का ये link है. आप लोगों ने करना क्या है कि आप लोग जब breakout rooms में चले जाएंगे, there will be one moderator and there will be two players. If you have one player, then please work the things out. There might be an uneven number in our rooms, and you have to play snakes and ladders. All the instructions are written over here. I have given you over here a digital dice ताकि आप numbers वगैरह देख सकें कि आप लोग कहाँ पहुँचे हैं. And moderator का काम होगा that they will share a screen of a game board. आपकी right side पे game board is already there. So I have all my questions in there. They're quite general, so all of us should be able to play this engaging game and learn from it as well. And for players, you just have to use annotation, जो मैंने शुरू में थोड़ा सा बताया था, to place your mark. हमारे पास, we don't have those small, whatever they are called in English. So you will use annotation, whether you can use a star, you can use a heart, you can use a tick, whatever you want, and then keep on moving forward. Whoever wins the game needs to write their name in the chat, and then we will celebrate you. Another important thing is that अगर आपका सवाल जो है वो ठीक है, if your question is correct, you stay at your place. If your question is incorrect, you basically move one step back. You will have plenty of time to play this game, so do not rush. आराम से इसको instructions को पढ़ें and then game board को भी देख लें, and let me know if I can help you out in any way, shape, or form. And I'll be here visiting all the breakout rooms, and I hope you guys have fun, and let's see who wins this game of snakes and ladders. Salman Saab, can you please send us all to our breakout rooms? Okay, I think I'm going to pick up after the game. So there were some technical issues. We weren't able to send the link. Broadcasting it wasn't being clicked, but I tried to help as much as people as was possible. I'm going to show you the answers because some of the faculty members were asking कि हमें answers अभी दिखा दें, and I was like, you know, you just need to wait. So these were the answers for all the questions there were. There were some twists and changes and everything, but then again, I think it was just to demonstrate you guys how to work through it. One of the last things I would like to mention before I move on to what Ruxana ji suggested that I show a few demonstrations before it ends. Before this, you need to look at this indicator map. I have heard a lot of faculty members say that we do not know, हमारे पास इतने ढेर सारी apps हैं, that we have so many softwares that we do not know what to choose, when to choose. So this indicator right over here is very good to choose apps according to your need and according to the internet's speed as well, whether you have high bandwidth or low bandwidth, and what's the purpose of your instruction inside your virtual classroom or even in remote or offline setting as well. I'm going to move on to the demonstration of 3 websites which I have just set up. So I was talking about—
This is a very good, Maida, this is a very good, with the high bandwidth and low bandwidth, very good table. And I think everybody should have it with them so that they know what to work with at what time, especially for students with low bandwidth.
Okay, so I'm just going to get into TED-Ed. A lot of you were asking what TED-Ed is or how to work with it. I'm just going to show you over here. So ये वाली जो video है photosynthesis की, I found it out from the existing database of TED-Ed. So they give you an introduction, which is let's begin, and then you have these 4 chunks. If you see, think में आपके पास multiple choice question है, then you have open answer questions. And then it basically asks you if you want to provide any supplement information to add to it or not. So it's a very good way to set up small videos and have these pop-ups and mini quiz or diagnostic assessments, or even formative as well, for you to help with this video and make it more engaging. The second one I talked about was this hypothesis. मैंने इसकी extension already download की हुई है. And I'm just going to click on it for you guys to see how the extension works. I hope it works. Here it is. So hypothesis works on any Chrome and I think on Safari as well. It's not really difficult. It's free of cost. That's the best thing. There is no fee for it. आपने कोई भी PDF इस पे upload करना है, or you can also have any website which you want your students to have a discussion on. So for example, I want to make a comment as a student on this part. So I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to click annotate. And this is where I write my question or my discussion part. And it's very easy. So you can just click on this button and then it will go back and you can read the article, and you can also read what other people have been talking about as well. The last thing before I end this session is Blogger. I'm sorry about the gibberish. I made it in a hurry. I do use Blogger, पर मेरा computer थोड़ा एक अलग है जिस पे मैं काम करती हूँ. So you can post new posts, you can have drafts, you can have your comment section on, and you can also earn money from Blogger. It's very easy to set up. So it's just like any other website, and it will show you a screen something like this. So just imagine that there are discussion boards, there are videos, there are pictures, everything is embedded there. And you can host either your virtual office hours or you can host discussions or lively commentary on Blogger. So this was pretty much it. I do not have anything else to share, but just this last thought that I really believe that teaching is a vision. And you have to analyze what goes wrong and what goes right, and teaching is just sometimes trial and error. So please don't be afraid to experiment. Our students need us, we need us for our sanity. And I hope you guys learned something and had fun. And we'll, I think, open the floor for questioning. And over to you, Rukhsana ji.
Thank you so much. I think between you and Aisha, you really put us wise to a lot of things. Aisha started with Bandora's model of self-efficacy and how it affects our engagement and how it brings about engagement in the classroom. And then you talked about some activities that include all students. And you talked about high bandwidth, low bandwidth. You talked about strategies that could make it more interactive with students with different capacities and different capabilities. And I was very impressed with the different apps that you showed about which can create more interaction in the classroom, which can be social media, and they can also talked about how you used games and translated games into subject matter to to bring about more interaction among students. I going to harp on Slack. I've heard a lot about Slack, Maida, but I don't know what Slack is. Could you briefly tell us what Slack is about?
Slack is just a messaging service like any other messaging service there is. उसमें सिर्फ फर्क इतना है that it uses low bandwidth and it only uses your email IDs. Unfortunately, on this computer, I do not have it downloaded. I have it on my phone, so I use it with my students or any faculty members over there. And I think you and I are a part of EMICOL Slack group as well.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
It's but very discreet, and it's very good to use with students.
Okay. So I have heard some people say, Elizabeth was just talking about how difficult it was, how, that she doesn't like giving her phone number to everybody. So I think Slack, because you're already contacting with each other over email anyway. So I think Slack, if it uses email, becomes a very powerful tool for connecting with students. Right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so you are saying it works by the email, not by the phone number.
No, good. Not at all. Even if you put your phone number into it, it doesn't show it to anyone else.
Oh, great! And it's between you and the student who put up an interaction, or is it open to everybody? Like this chat, you can limit it to the student, one person, or you can open it to everybody.
No, you have to send an invitation.
Okay.
People to join, so you can't have it open for public. It can be only classroom
to the people
groups.
who join. Yeah, but even within the class that joins, is it to one student individual, or you can put up a Slack to it has to be to all the group?
It can be individual, or it can be one to group as well. So it has a lot of options.
Okay. Okay, great. Any questions from the rest of the faculty? Dear faculty, if you have any question. Mustafa, you are enjoying with your daughter, but any questions?
No, ma'am, we don't have questions.
No questions.
I want to ask.
Ji.
You have showed something about low bandwidth and high, so I didn't get what's that. Kindly explain that.
Yeah, if you could go back to the slide, Maida, I would love to just go over it again.
I can do that. I can definitely do that. So this is an indicator created by one of the educators called Daniel Stanford, and this is very useful in this time of crisis and online learning. This indicator basically tells you which app to include in your class and which app to not include in your class with these small highlights over here. So for example, if your instruction is of high immediacy, which means कि ऐसी instruction जो आपको उसी वक्त बच्चों को बतानी है, and you need them to be engaged, and you have high bandwidth as well over here. आपके पास internet भी बहुत अच्छा है, and your students also have a very good internet connection. So you will use video conferences and audio conferences, web apps or software such as Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. Another example is if you have low bandwidth, which means you have low internet connection, and your instruction is also has low immediacy. The students can do it on their own time, relaxed. Then you can choose discussion boards, email, or reading with text and images. So it really helps you to put different web apps and apps into these sections, जो भी आपके course की ज़रूरत है, or however you like to play with your course, whether it's online or offline.
I got. Thank you.
And so what you're saying is, may I request you, Maida, that before we give out this PowerPoint to people, to faculty, I would like you to sort of, in the boxes, also write some examples of apps, like video conferences become BB button and Zoom. Audio conferences becomes the same without the video, or just chat or WhatsApp. Can that be a video audio conference? Without a video, WhatsApp, yeah. And then group chat and messaging can be WhatsApp and blogs and stuff. Is that so?
Yeah, it can be.
And collaborative documents can be Google Doc or even Padlet. Would Padlet come under collaborative documents?
Yes, it can come under the green zone and the blue zone both.
Okay, so may I request that if you could sort of give examples under all these boxes, simple ones that we have tried in our modules, then this becomes a very powerful resource for faculty to have. So if there's one or two, examples of each category.
Okay, I can do that.
Something that has a high immediacy and low bandwidth and low bandwidth and low immediacy and so on. And if some examples would help. Any other questions in the chat? No. We don't seem to have any other questions. Thank you so much, Maida.